Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach and Off channel. In this video we're going to preview round 13 of the 2025 NRL Supercoach season. So before we talk about my team specifically, we'll look a bit more generally at what everyone else is doing. So the trade-ins, trade-outs, we'll start with the trade-outs first. It's a number one on the list, Corey Horsburgh, which is interesting. He's 525k. But he is dual position. I guess, after the loss last night to Queensland, could be pushing for an origin spot. I know he doesn't play around 15, but I'd imagine there's probably bigger issues for a lot of teams to fix. I guess there's probably one upgrade that a lot of people are doing, which makes sense, but I don't think he should be number one on the list, put it that way. Tommy Jenkins, number 2. So he's in the squad this week. I don't know why he's so unpopular. Break even of 83 is not fantastic. So I guess if you're happy to bank the 300k, fair enough. Probably a couple of options you could go to, but I'd be upgrading him to a keeper, probably not cashing out. So I guess if that's what you're doing, makes sense. Dylan Egan is a trade out for the season. Connor Tracy, so lost a lot of money last week and now on the buy, so I can see why people are getting off, but he does offer that buy coverage. Probably the reason why a lot of people had him in the team, to be honest. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's the smartest trade this week. Nafahu Watt's another one. He should be back in round 15, and the Roosters are on a bye next week anyway. So if you had him, you weren't expecting him to play next week. So probably hold. He's not going to play this week, granted. Won't play next week, but then should be back after their bye. And obviously will cover those tough bye rounds. Billy Smith, so another one who offers pretty good bye coverage. Yeah, I'll have to have a look who the trade-ins are because he's not at that price where you make a lot of money downgrading him. You do have to have a lot of cash to upgrade him. So I think, you're more likely upgrading the likes of Jenkins and the like than Billy Smith. So I think Billy Smith's a hold. Thomas Cant, so coming off the bench, which I guess it means he is starting to leak cash, so he's probably better off not being in the team at all. But yeah, probably one you can get rid of. Obviously, you need to either downgrade to not a lot or upgrade to quite a bit. Jacob Kiraz obviously holds a lot of cash on his head, but hoping he'll be back in time for the next buy round. Big buy round, that is, I should say. He is a keeper, so I'm tempted to hold. But I can understand with that much money on his head, he can do quite a bit with it. Adam Fanua-Blake, so I can't begrudge people trading him out because it's what I'm doing this week. I guess, like I said, it was sort of a panic move last week with the Dylan Lucas rumours. It's just tough. You got him, you've got Haas, you've got Terrell May. There's a lot of money invested in the front row. So, yeah, he's just the one who makes way. It is what it is. And Vay Malga, so interesting people are getting off him now. He's been on the bench pretty much the whole time. So I might have missed someone who's traded in this week. Let's have a look. So number one on the trading list is Kalal Matangi. I think this does make sense. He's scoring well since moving into the middle. Basically, it means he's making more tackles, gets more runs of the footy, so just doing the work, and is well suited to it. Probably prefers to play on the edge, but I mean, who wouldn't want to take it easier out on the edge? So yeah, number one most popular trade in. I guess I'm just trying to fix up my folly from last week, so probably don't have the capability to bring him in this week. But but with a break even of 21, he is going to be a bit more expensive than next week. Lehigh Opawati, so with the news Tom Travojevic is out, people bringing him in. I think last time this happened, there was a bit of conversation that he's actually scores better on the wing, but he does have a break even of 3. He's playing the Broncos, who it'll be interesting to see if Haas and Carrigan back up from Origin, particularly with Payne Haas in that injury cloud going in. So I think this is a sneaky shout to bring in Hopewadi. Ewan Aitken, so a lot of people sort of looking at South's coverage. And the fact that he is playing in the second row is usually good for his Supercoach scoring because he just gets the ball more often. And we know he's not the biggest fan of passing. He does love a run, does love a try. So, I think that's a decent trade. Dylan Lucas, so there is an element of chasing points from last week, but again, as I've said previously, I'm bringing him in, and it was, he is a keeper in the centre wing for the season. So, um, yeah, it's either now or you've just got to really hope he has a dip in form, which I just don't see. He's probably not going to be much cheaper later in the year, so just get on now. Cole McCarthy, so probably the cheapie of the week, given -7, and he is in that Bradman Best slot. So um, yeah, I might see if I can make that work. Actually, I think I've gone a different way with my cheapie, but McCarthy could offer a little bit of mid-term value. Ezra Mam, so obviously had one good game before the bye. I'm going to have a second look this week before I sort of pass judgment. His price won't change. If he obviously doesn't have the best game against Manly, he won't make a lot of cash from the off. So, that'll probably steer me towards not worrying about it. But if he goes big again this week, I might take the cash injection that's on offer. And obviously, if you get on this week and he goes big, you'll be cheering. Zach Lomax, so yeah, obviously looked great in Origin. Um, should back up, particularly given how low Para are on the ladder and that they are playing against Penrith and will be up for a big one. And yeah, looked pretty good in the game to be fair, so I think he will back up. Here's a keeper, so bring him in whenever you want. Fletcher Sharp, another keeper. Yeah, if you've got like the likes of Lucas, he's probably the next one above Lomax just because Lomax will be out for Origin and Sharp will cover 15, 16. Sam Rani is an interesting one. Um, uh, Obviously, the dual position's nice, but won't play around 15. Um, yeah, if you're going down, I'd go all the way down to McCarthy. If you're looking for, a switch player, second row, centre wing for Lucas or Bo Firm cover, I think Ewan Aitken is the better option there. And Hugo Savala, so another interesting one, is going well playing halfback. Um, Obviously, the Roosters' bye coverage is nice. Um, is it worth the trades? Because you probably trade him in. You probably want to trade him back out. He's definitely not a keeper at halfback. Um, Definitely not a keeper in the second row. But I guess he's dual position, fairly cheap. So, he could do worse, I think, than bringing Savala this week. So that's the trade ins. In terms of captaincy, I've already gone with the top 10%. And the most popular option, which again you can see I've pretty well gone with the crowd, Terrell May. So you think about a lot of our safe captaincy options, backing up from Origin, so your Haas's, your Yo's, your Clearys, that sort of stuff. Terrell May is the obvious one. Cowboys have a lot of guys backing up, Cotter, Nane, Robson, in that forward pack, so he could have a bit of fun through the middle there. Given that they'll either be rested or they'll be a little bit flat after Origin. Ryan Pappenhausen is probably the biggest VC shout playing the Titans, which seems to be a gold mine for Supercoach scoring on a Saturday afternoon. So it should be a dry track. Haven't checked the weather conditions or anything that crazy, but it makes sense. Just I guess if you're gone with the Papenhausen May combo, just be mindful they do basically play back to back. So you've got to be able to get on your computer or phone device at about 5 o'clock on Saturday Arvo if you want to take that VC score. Nathan Cleary at number three, so backing up from Origin, playing Parramatta, but Parramatta admittedly have been a bit better of late with Moses returning. Um, but yeah, I think they are going to all back up the Penrith guys. When you're last on the ladder, you can't really afford too many restings. Can't afford to, try to go in half cocked into a lot of games going into the finals if you're coming from that far back. So I think he'll play. I think I've got him as the VC in fantasy, but I'm not considering him for Super Coach this week. I think better options there. James Tedesco in the last game against the Raiders makes sense. Nice easy captaincy option, and it's one I've definitely toyed with, but I think Terrell May is the standout option. Scott Drinkwater, I mean, if you've got him, it makes sense against the Tigers. Um, yeah, I'm going with this big break even. I'm waiting a week or two to bring him in. Hopefully, just one. So Nico Hines on the bye this week, so people just haven't fixed that up. Payne Haas, I'd probably avoid as captain. Um, Chance he doesn't back up, but also just playing from like played Wednesday night, has had that thigh complaint, so I think he'll be solid. But I think there's better captaincy options. Joe Tarpany, so another big name in the last game. Fair enough. Cam Munster, see if he'll back up against the Titans. They may sort of take the opportunity to give him a breather. But if he does, he's definitely in the VC conversation. Fletcher Sharp at number 10, so you can see he's more popular in the VC stakes given they do play in that first game. Be interesting to see if Ponga backs up 48 hours after Origin. Um, if he doesn't, Sharp may get a fullback run again, and if he does, that does make him a very viable VC option. Even at 5'8", he's good, but at fullback, he is really handy. So I'll just have a look at some other VC options. So the top three we've already discussed. Ruben Garrick against the Broncos. I mean, you got to risk it for the biscuit. He is that high upside type pick that you can take a flyer on at VC, but you would have to have a later captain, so probably a Tedesco, Tarpany type shout. Dylan Lucas, so yep, I guess he scored pretty well last week for a game where he was supposedly injured. So yeah, could get on. Dragons should be a little bit tougher, but I guess everyone, the Penrith are the benchmark, and he scored 147 on them. So yeah, Tom Travojevic, he's injured, so a few people haven't got the memo there. Herbie Farnworth, copy and paste what I just said. Gutho will give a shout out to in that first game. I guess if you've still got him, he could go big. So it's one of those high upside plays. But in terms of my team this week, haven't actually changed it since Monday, I think it was. We did the round review. So at the moment, it's Pasifiki Tonga in. I did want to see if I could get McCarthy. I have got the money. So could we potentially update that? So I think Pasifiki Tonga is decent enough to sit on that bench spot, but we could try and extract a little bit more cash. That doesn't sound right. Oh yeah, well, is that? Oh no, what's going on there? Do I seriously have that much money? Hang on. What's happened there? Oh, that's right. I do have the money, but I'm saving it for Cleary and Drinkwater. There we go. All right, I'm up to date. So can I afford that? I know, yeah, doing the maths, it was pretty tight, wasn't it? Cancel because that's right. I've got me a little note here, don't I? Yeah. So I'm predicting that next week with who was it? Iongi pushing or at least holding value at 570, and Luke Metcalf might drop down to about 560. Plus that cash in the bank, I should be able to squeeze in Drinkwater and Cleary. Yeah, I don't want to use a boost to make that happen, so I think I'm going to just stick with that. So yeah, so it was Fanua Blake down to Pasifiki Tonga, which allows me to get Dylan Lucas back in. Um, I guess the alternative to that would be McCarthy and probably Kaloa Matangi. Fix up the second row. But I do like having, the sort of decent centre wing structure that I've got here. Pretty well set and forget from this point forward. Obviously, Lomax would be nice to get in at some stage, but yeah, we can't quite make it happen at the moment. Just thinking, is there any other cash on the horizon? Because I do need to make a bit of money, I think. I don't know. I'm going to leave it and let me know what you think. Is Lucas with Pasifiki Tonga a better combo or Klamatangi with McCarthy? So, yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below this video. How about that? But yeah, also give us a like if you do enjoy the Supercoach content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. Other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.